went to space yesterday with a bunch of other American women. As you know, Lauren Sanchez is the fiance of one of the world's richest men, Jeff Bezos, who kissed the ring of Donald Trump, gave him $1 million for his inauguration, gave $40 million for some bullshit documentary featuring Melania Trump. Lauren Sanchez is mad because people are critical of her trip to space. Put up this headline. Lauren Sanchez is really ticked off that some people have criticized her pointless trip to spend a few minutes on the edge of space. Lauren Sanchez blasts critics of her bizarre space trip, and she says, quote, "I get really fired up." Lauren Sanchez, let me tell you what fires me up. What fires me up is that women in my state of Oklahoma are denied basic health care and privacy with their OBGYNs. Let me give you an example of thousands that are happening in all of these red states. A friend of mine, her niece, married, pregnant, really wants to have a baby, finds out early on that it's a little girl, goes in for a routine ultrasound, finds out that the fetus's organs are outside of the body. And if she were to carry this fetus to term, that it would immediately die. The doctors advise her that she shouldn't carry it to term, but that they can't do anything. They legally cannot help her, or they themselves might go to jail. So she has to spend time on the phone to other states, ends up driving out of state to have a DNC, and the added shame that the government put on her while you're traveling around space with women and your husband's giving $40 million to Melania Trump. There is real suffering happening in these states. So you all might have hitched your wagon to Trump because it felt good that you might make more money. It felt good that you might be able to launch more rockets. But what comes with that is you live in a state where your rights are protected. We live in states where Project 2025 is well underway and women are being dehumanized, their privacy is being taken away, and rape victims are carrying their babies to term, especially if they're poor. So I hope you had your fun on your rocket trip, Lauren Sanchez and Katy Perry. But there are real women in this country suffering really damaging, generational, harmful traumas because of Donald Trump and all of the Christian nationalists that are hell-bent on taking away all of the rights of women. And I just want to remind you that there's never been a law ever that regulates male genitalia. So have fun in your rocket ship, but when you put yourself on the big stage, you open yourself up for criticisms. And I would even go further, Lauren Sanchez, and I would say with your microphone and your wealth, maybe it would have been better spent on the ground in these red states where women are having their rights removed from them, are suffering harm because of this. Maybe that would have been a better way to invest your time and money than an 11-minute trip to space and then coming back down to the ground and kissing the earth. But here's another tweet that I thought was interesting regarding this. Crazy how Katy Perry and Lauren Sanchez going to space for 10 minutes is supposed to, quote, inspire women. But the women who already worked at NASA are, checks notes, getting fired and getting their bios removed from the site. People in the military, people from NASA, women all over the country are having their accolades and their careers ruined because this administration is inherently anti-woman. So this little publicity stunt where you and your husband want to have it both ways. You want to say, oh, Trump's not that bad. But meanwhile, the only reason he's not that bad to you is because you have billions of dollars. For the rest of us, we're fighting for our lives, for our rights. Women in my state are fighting for their lives. Secular people in my state are being forced to go to schools where the Bible is now mandated as part of the curriculum. This is inherently nationalistic. This is inherently fascist. So I don't have any sympathy or empathy for any criticism you receive for your rocket trip. Either one of them, I think it's just disgusting. And I want to remind Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos that Donald Trump is a criminal dictator, and he gravitates to people with the same loose morals, people that appease his default setting of being a corrupt dictator, authoritarian. And listen to this clip about Bukele and how he is in power in El Salvador.
This is a business arrangement. Certainly that's how President Bukele looks at it. He first came to power in 2019 in El Salvador and then was able to run again after, as critics have pointed out, essentially replacing the Supreme Court judges in El Salvador with his appointees, and then the Constitution was able to change, and hence he came to a second term, which he's currently serving.
Now, who does that sound like to you? That sounds like exactly what Trump tried to do in 2020. And so when you have Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and these other billionaires turning their back on inherent principles and ideals that we value as a democratic society, you are bedfellows with these murderous, horrible dictators. There's no other way around it. You can have no ambiguity on this issue. You either oppose it, you oppose human rights violations with everything in you to the core of your being, or you appease and you play both sides. And that's exactly what MAGA does. And that's exactly what this oligarchy does. And here we go. Here's Kristi Noem in the Oval Office yesterday talking about how she wants to force everybody to love America. Play the clip.
Kristi, could you maybe say a couple of words about the border, how we're doing?
Yeah, it's just been absolutely phenomenal what a great leader can do. Clear direction, our laws matter. We should only have people in our country that love us, and the Border Patrol and our ICE officers.
We should only have people in our country that love us. This is not freedom. This is toxic, forced love of the most childish, broken way you could ever imagine. That's the difference. You can be an American and be critical of your government. You can even dislike your government. You can even dislike the place you live. If not, then it's like North Korea. And MAGA seems to not value this. They do not want this. They want this forced love. Donald Trump, 60 Minutes, if they dare say something critical of him, he wants them completely off the air. He wants to sue them for billions of dollars. This is American weakness. This is just human weakness. And what happens? What happens when you do this? What happens to our country? Nobody wants to come here. Put up this chart. This accompanying tweet says, "This is crazy. America is literally becoming a country, quote, for Americans only. Just look at these graphs. The number of people traveling from Europe to the U.S. has plummeted by 35%. People are scared to come to America." And look at all of the charts. Down, down, down. Nobody wants to come here. This is American isolationism in the face of a very globalized world. And we are getting sidelined because of Donald Trump's insane ego and his desire to be bedfellows with sociopaths and dictators. It's insane. Here we have Elise Stefanik stepping into Twitter and getting trolled by a Chinese diplomat. She says, "America first, China last." And the diplomat responds, "First in what? COVID infections and deaths, gun violence, prison population, number of homeless people, bombs dropped on foreign countries, national debt of 30 trillion, number of idiot politicians like you." This is so easy. It is so easy to ridicule MAGA. China is doing it, just effortlessly all over the internet. Democrats, lovers of freedom, even if you happen to vote for Trump, this is insane. All Republicans ever do is add debt to the national deficit. Elon Musk and all of the Doge cutting efforts, what's so funny about that? The facts on the table are we're spending at a record pace, much higher now than we were this time last year. And the hits are going to keep on coming. Let's put this up. China has just ordered all Chinese airlines to stop purchases of all aircraft related to equipment and parts from all American companies. And then the next one, China suspends rare earth exports as trade war with U.S. escalates, report. And here's the difference, what Americans don't realize. China will play the long game in this. They are schooling the Trump administration on maturity, on facts, on how to play with strength. China has, for me personally, China egregious human rights violations. I don't like the cheap labor and all of the things that are going on over there, but Democrats need to make the argument. All these manufacturing jobs they're talking about bringing back at the exact same time that Florida talks about dropping the age to work to 14, it's because they can pay children less. They're wanting to completely throw away all of American strength, all of America's economic leadership, and they want us to be like one of these dictatorships. And what is the end game in this? What's happening? How is the world responding? I'll show you how. These banners are going up all over the place. Boycott USA. People are calling for global boycotts of all American products, of everything American. And so, listener, you have got to have uncomfortable conversations with people in your life who still support this regime. This is not a political conversation. This is a moral conversation. This is a human rights conversation. This is standing up for the most marginalized members of your society and saying to yourself and to them, none of us are free until all of us are free. This oligarchy and these billionaires and their moral duplicity is destabilizing the economy. They think that everybody should love them and worship them, from Elon Musk to Lauren Sanchez to Donald Trump. They want to be on the national stage, yet they cannot take an ounce of criticism. That is not leadership. That is arrogance and weakness. And we have to fight as hard as we ever have to get the strength to stand up to this fascist dictatorship that is formed in America right now. This is an historical moment that we are living through. All right, we'll see you all later. We're trying to get to 1 million subs, so please click subscribe.